visit you. Are you booked all winter already?
No, no, we are not booked all winter. Yes, you can come and visit, and the website is. Can you write this down for me? Because I can't put anything in.
I have the website right here. In fact, I am going to link it right in the chat so people can get to it.
Thanks for the question, Amy.
Yeah. Let's see if I can type and do things all at the same time. Usually I have Trevor in here who's on his way.
Yeah, he's always late. I was just listening to your episode with Alex Hitt. He was on my podcast last
Oh,
year.
really? That's
Hmm.
amazing. Yeah, I love Alex. We go to his, so I met Alex through his networking group. He has a networking group on Thursdays that I go to, and we have a lot of the same passions when it comes to creator economy and creators and doing different things. And so, being able to collaborate with him has been a lot of fun, and I really look forward to doing a lot more with him. So we might have him as a regular guest on Tuesdays, which would be amazing. Yeah.
On Tuesdays or Mondays? Because he talks money
He
on
he
Monday.
was he was in on Monday, and that worked out really well for him, but we're going to be doing more with community on Tuesdays.
Oh.
And so I'm going to see if he's free on Tuesdays, but we'll take him anytime he's free, to be honest with you. We're really not picky. We're a cheap
Is that
date.
why I'm here? You're really not that picky, so you're like, ah, yeah, we'll let Joe Schmo in the door,
No, I was
right?
really
Yeah.
looking forward to having you on today. I'm excited for it because I love a little humor. I love a little I liked your energy. And I watched some of your things that you were doing. So I was like, I love the energy. I love the things that you talk about. It just gets me, it hits all the right places and it makes my soul happy. And
Oh,
so
that's huge. What a
yeah,
beautiful compliment. Thank you, Bree.
you're welcome. And so
Makes
I was
me
excited to
smile.
have you here. And it was Amy actually who tagged me in your post, and that's how I connected with you. So that
That
was
same Amy, the one
the
over
same
there?
Amy, that one right
Oh,
over there.
wow. Hello, Amy. Thank you for tagging the post. I appreciate that. I didn't know. I didn't recognize the last name. So,
Yeah, Amy is she has a podcast as well. She's been doing it. She just hit her 1 year mark, and I think she's on episode 50 something. And
mm.
she has her podcast all about sustainability. So it's because she wanted to learn more about sustainability. So it's, living like green living, living off the grid. She just did some soap things. She made her own soap, which is exciting. She has chickens, and so it's very much like a part of who she is, and she gets to learn more by interviewing amazing people. So we love Amy Fagan. She's a super fan of ours. She's here all of the time supporting us.
Oh, wow.
And we love, and Scoob is here, and we got a lot of other people hanging out. So I'm excited for it.
Congratulations on having super fans. I only have restraining orders, which are
Oh,
almost, they're so similar,
they
really.
are.
They're both consonants and nouns, it
Yep.
just stinks. Consonants and what's the other thing?
Yeah.
Verbs.
Verbs, nouns, verbs,
Verbs, yeah.
adjectives. There's a few
Yeah.
adjectives. Yeah.
Vowels.
Same.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people that hop in and out. We've met some really amazing people, and that's one of the things that podcasting has done for me, and getting into more like doing all these live shows all the time. They're my favorite thing because I really hate editing. What is like your favorite thing about being in the podcast world, and then what's your least favorite?
So my favorite thing is reading books and then finding somebody, discovering a new human being and be like, oh my gosh, this person is amazing. I want to meet them in person. I want to really get to know them. Let me invite them on the podcast. So then you get to have this experience of this person. And I'm thrilled and humbled by how much generosity our guests have. So our podcast is 99% guest based, right?
Mhm.
And we get to interview these amazing people, and they share like all their secrets of how they got wealthy, how they've been brave, how they have shown up in their lives, how they've been vulnerable, right? So I love that. And my least favorite part, we hire an editor. We just delegate that out to this amazing person in Pakistan. I can send you his information if you want. He's
Yeah.
great. Mohammed, I love him. So my least favorite part would be um, scheduling
Yeah.
sometimes gets a little tricky. Like, did they get the link? Are they going to show? Oh, they didn't respond. Oh, where are they? Did you send your bio? Like all that behind the scenes stuff that your listeners might and viewers might not know about. There's a lot that hours and hours just to get
Yeah.
somebody there. I mean, even this morning, I was like, "Oh, I hope I have the right link. I hope that I click on it. I hope all the tech stuff works."
Oh yeah.
My least favorite
Well,
part.
I have this is Dan in the background. I don't know if you can see him very well. It's a very dark day here. But this is Dan. Dan started I got Dan last Halloween. He unfortunately has a sword in his head. So some days he complains a lot. But his name is Daryl Ainsley Pneumospect, and he is our tech guy. So as long as I give him a lot of respect, tech stuff seems to
Mhm.
work for me. But it is what it is. I understand though, tech is always an issue for us. But we make things work and we go with the flow and we are live. So if it happens, it happens and there's
Exactly.
nothing we can do about it. I wanted to touch on something that Amy had said. She says, I need to go to San Miguel. What a beautiful place, Joseph. How the heck did you come to own a retreat? And what a fun place that must be. So how did you come to own a place?
Wow, how much time do you have, Amy and Bree? So the economy tanked 2009. We all remember that. My husband and I were doing interior design in San Diego, another gorgeous, beautiful, kind of expensive city to live in. And he said, we can sit around and worry that we don't have any projects and that our projects are canceling. Or I know of this beautiful, magical artist retreat in the center of Mexico. He's from Mexico City, so not a big stretch that he knew about it. He said, let's go do a sabbatical. Let's do a 1 month sabbatical, go make some art, take some classes, and see what we think. That was 13 years ago.
Oh my God.
It was 13 years ago, and I mean, we went home to sell the houses that we had and such, but
Yeah.
so we just showed up and immediately started getting work because the economy had not tanked in Mexico. And we started getting work, and we're big believers in the law of attraction. So we were
Mhm.
attracting the favorite place that we wanted to be as a rental. Because what's different about Mexico than where I come from in the States is that you can't really get a mortgage here. You can, but you would never want to pay those interest rates. Sorry if this is a boring topic, but
No,
I'm
it's
blaming it on
interesting. I'm
Amy.
fascinated.
So we were looking for a place to rent. So we put it on like a digital cork board kind of thing and said, this is who we are. This is what our budget is. We have a couple of dogs. And one person answered. It was for this house that we're currently in. And they said, great, but we don't accept dogs. We're like, well, we're not getting rid of our freaking dogs. Like, we'll find another house. So they eventually said yes. We eventually got more dogs. And so
Of
we
course.
rented it for 6 years. And then they were saying, we're going to sell it. And we kept every year when we would renew our lease, we'd be like, oh, it's not a good time to sell. Don't sell the house, right? We didn't want to leave.
Of course.
So eventually they said, we want to sell it. And they gave us incredible terms. They gave us a long term payment plan. And
Nice.
here we are. We started doing Airbnb. My husband got cancer. He had a 10% chance of survival. And what he came to understand through a lot of research and a lot of intuition is let food be thy medicine.
Mhm.
So we said, why don't we do some retreats for people who are going through cancer or who are post treatment and want to stay in remission? And because I'm a hypnotherapist, I specialize in people quitting smoking. And I have people come here on retreats, and I'm like, you want to work with me before you have to work with Eli, right? You want to quit smoking before you have to go to the holistic cancer coach. So and now we're moving into more like theater retreats. We're doing a solo theater festival here in March. So San Miguel de Allende is the like a huge culture capital of the world. There are artists and writers and painters and theater festivals and music festivals and all kinds of things always happening. And
Wow.
that's why we've stayed.
Yeah.
You know?
I that now see that like immediately brought me in. I when you said theater, as much as I would love the wellness because I am all about that. I go through my own health struggles that I have to deal with. COVID was not kind to me, and so it it showed me some of the deficiencies that I didn't know that I had. They found that I have a bicuspid aortic valve, which is a
Oh.
valve that's not right in my heart. So I have to get that fixed. And I'm dealing with a lot of the repercussions of having a heart failure and things like that, and trying to heal myself. And I like food is wonderful. Like I make sure that I'm eating very healthy food. But the thing I've found that most tremendously been healing to my heart has been in the last 3 weeks. My son moved home with us. He's living in a camper in my driveway with
Mhm.
his family, which is fine. But I have my granddaughter here with me all the time now. And in 3 weeks' time, the medical records show my heart is healed tremendously just by having that joy and that love and that child in my life. And so it's been so healing, and I know what that power of love and support and what it can do. It's powerful, right? It's like I have the medical records to prove how powerful it is. And so I've kind of been on fire ever since I got the results, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm crushing it now. But you really have
Mm.
me, thank you. You really have me on that whole theater scene. Now, I grew up at a place called Chautauqua. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's
I had Chautauqua once, but I took an antibiotic and
oh,
it's
good. Yeah,
all
all
cleared up.
gone?
It's all
Okay,
gone.
perfect.
Yeah. Hey, can I answer Trevor? He wanted to
Yeah.
know, how is my husband now?
Yes.
Please visit. If you could put this in the chat, that would be great because I don't
Yeah.
have chat access. Outoftheblueshow.com.
Okay.
Outoftheblueshow.com. So what happened? Thank you for the question, Trevor. He moved through his experience, and what he realized is that he really and truly needed to connect to his joy in order to heal fully. So he gave himself 30 days of joy, guilt free. And what he
Wow.
realized about the second or third week into it, he could tell the story better than I. Eli's reconnected to how much he loves to sing. He noticed that he had a lot of things that a lot of healing that needed to happen as well. So he created a musical, as one does, right?
Of
When you have a
course.
healing journey, Bree. And he plays 25 characters. It's mostly a one-man show. He plays
Wow.
shame, he plays fear, he plays forgiveness, probably. He plays his oncologist, his mother, his father, his younger self, his future healed self, which I would love to him to be on your show to talk about
Yeah.
how he connects often with his future healed self, to find out what needs to happen, what vitamins to take, and what
Mhm.
supplements and what diet. So he created the show. We had the world premiere here, went really well. We went to Hollywood, won some awards over there. Next, we are going to not Denver. What's the other one? Starts with a B. Um,
Boulder?
Boulder. We're going to Boulder in April to premiere the
Nice.
show there.
How
And
exciting. That's really an undertaking, and that's very, very impressive. Has what inspired him to do all that? I mean, that's like as a wannabe writer and have dabbled
mm,
a bit. I'm always impressed with. I mean, that many characters. That's a heavy lift. Like that's so incredible. What inspires him to do all that?
he has always lived his life that way.
Okay.
He's always been a multi-passionate person,
Hmm.
always been in theater and music and teaching theater to gang members. And
Wow.
so, but he can answer the question better than I can.
What a gift.
I think the question is, I know what inspired him, but what keeps us inspired, right? I was reading recently that the difference between uber successful people and people who are less successful is that uber successful people don't quit.
Yeah.
They want to. They're tempted. They want to stay in bed and pull up the covers, or start playing with Netflix and binge watching that, right? But they don't quit. So
That's
how does that?
incredible. That's true. It's very true. You get what inspires you and keeps you moving forward all the time, right? And we actually just talked. We have a creator lab that meets every Wednesday morning, and we were talking about what we've done in the past that is that in our digital content that we create, and like what we have felt has been real big wins for us, or what has brought us the most joy, and then how do we keep like setting new goals and reaching
Mm.
for new heights, and how do we move, like what is the next thing that we want to do, and being that, having that fluidity, I think is super important, because we're kind of always changing and growing. Otherwise we do become stagnant, or we've hit the goals and we're like, okay, that was it, I'm done. Like, no, I'm just beginning, I'm just getting started. What's next? And you've done a lot of that with, how many books do you have out now?
4, and I have the 5th one coming out on my birthday in August.
Yes. That's a
And that was
lot.
the post that I think Amy Fagan tagged you in.
Yep.
I had posted. So for listeners and viewers who don't know this, there's lots of active podcasting groups on Facebook. And so I did a post about a book that's coming out based on a New Year's resolution I made many years ago. And Amy read it. Thank you, Amy. And she tagged you. And that's why we're here today talking about fluidity.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm putting it in here. I'm going to put a link to, it's actually your bio over on Amazon, because it's a great place to like learn about you and also see
Mm.
what's happening over there, like all the different books, so that people can get a flavor of all of it. Um,
Flavor.
Yes, we like flavors. So I'll put that in there and they can check it out. Of course, I didn't
Mm.
put a space in there, so you'll have to figure that out, people. If Trevor was here, he'd be doing all these links and things for me. I'm trying to do this one woman show on my end too, and multitasking.
What's Trevor doing?
I don't know what, Trevor, what are you doing besides hanging out in the chat? I know he's in the
Yeah.
chat, he's making comments, but I want to see him get in here and hang out with us as well, because I know he has questions for you. He was having some tech issues with his camera earlier, so I'm wondering if he's still working on that, but he'll be here soon. Tell us a little bit about this Zoom that you have coming up on July 1st. Tell us what that is all about. It is a storytelling play
It's
shop?
a storytelling workshop. Yeah, play shop. So a lot of us have this hesitation about the stories that we want to tell about our life, right? Many of us raise our hand and say, "Oh, the stories that I have to tell are not that interesting, or nobody is wanting to hear it." And my belief and Eli's belief is that we all have a story to tell, right? We have all been through something difficult or humorous or inspiring or transformative. And when we give ourselves permission, that's a plug because my podcast is called Are You Waiting for Permission? When we give ourselves permission to metaphorically raise our hand and say, I want to share my story, it takes a lot of courage and bravery. And when we have some coaching or a play shop where we can workshop different things and say, what about this story or this story, or what's it like to be in front of a microphone, and how loud do I talk, and what warm-up exercises can I do so that I'm feeling more confident? So there's a storytelling festival happening here in San Miguel, but they happen all over the world. So it's happening in August, and we are kind of the precursor to that. So people come and they're practicing their story. They're calling through their stories with their buddy or somebody else in the play shop to see which one they want to tell. And we're doing it on Zoom and in person. And it's happening on Saturday.
That's
So I know.
amazing. I'd love to see
Mhm.
people sign up for that. I did put information out. I'll stick the link in there again, because I put it out earlier and I want to make sure people can find it.
Oh man, you're so kind.
Because
I feel like I should like be paying you as my assistant. Can I pay you in tortillas or something?
yes, I'll take some recipes. If you've got any dynamite recipes, you can pay me in recipes.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Sublimeguys.com. There
Ooh.
are a plethora of plant-based healing, even like
Yes.
delectable breakfast and healthy chocolates and stuff. Sublimeguys.com,
All right.
that Eli has created all those
That's
classes.
amazing. Yes, I would love that. That's the best way to pay me. I'm always looking for healthy things, and being on a low sodium diet is no joke. It's the worst diet you could possibly. I'd rather eat
Oh,
cardboard, to be honest with you, than a low
really?
sodium diet. It is, yes, it's not fun. It's what happens. And Trevor, it looks like Trevor's finding his way in here. He must have
Really?
taken. Well,
Should we hide?
no,
We
I
should
sent
totally hide.
we should hide. I mean, I sent him to Scott. Like we were talking about Scotland earlier. Maybe he went. Like maybe he thought we were there. I don't know where he is. But I think that's incredible. I'm going to try to find it, because Trevor's usually the one that's always pulling up my links for me. But I want to make sure I put the link back in. Hey, Trevor, do you have a camera that
Hello,
works? There you are.
hello,
Ugh.
hello.
He's all festive and everything. Hi.
Yes.
Hello. I feel like I've already met you both. I had truly been listening for like 20, 25 minutes, and it started as I was just getting my bearings, and then I got kind of just lost in what felt like story time. It was really, really wonderful to hear y'all going back and forth. It's like, like when you listen to a podcast and you like a podcast because of all the reasons we might like a podcast. Well, this is like a podcast except without the edits. I mean, it really is the only
Yeah,
difference in
we
a
could
lot of
use some edits here, please. Like when I couldn't think of the word vowel, could you just edit all of that out, please?
truth. Intern is going to have a really fucking tough time editing my fucking transcript someday because I fucking curse a lot on fucking live. I really enjoy live. I like the live experience because it pushes me to know myself better and to see how far I'm willing to push boundaries. It's so scary because like the little ticker up in the top, Jonathan, it says 3, but that doesn't collect a vast majority of our analytics. So LinkedIn, for instance, it does not collect any analytics from LinkedIn, which sucks because LinkedIn is my most popular platform. So there could easily be like 300 people on LinkedIn, but it would be sweet if it was, and I wouldn't know about it until afterwards. So I always just assume there's a million people on. What is the biggest stage that you've been on? How do you recommend that people, like when they're getting into public speaking, like we have some people and some podcasters who are very comfortable on screen, but being in front of people, it's like the reverse of what a lot of us faced, and they're going back into public. Any advice as they make that transition?
Can I come back after July 4th?
Why is that?
So July 4th, Eli and I have been hired to be on the biggest stage I've ever been on. And it is tasked with us as MCs and as auctioneers to raise $100,000 for a local organization that does psychological, dental, and medical care out in the poorest of the poorest communities, Trevor, here in Mexico. So we're the MCs, and it's a very unique opportunity. I'm using the word unique because it's kind of a pain in the ass too, that there's a committee telling us, oh, you need to do this, and then this happens, and then make sure you say this, and then introduce this person, and then do this. And I'm like, wow, I'm an improviser. I've been an improviser for years. I have an improv troupe here. And doing art by committee is an incredibly different experience. And doing it in front of a large stage, a large audience that are paying a lot of money. Before we even raise that money, they've already like paid big ticket to get in the seat. So yeah, I'll see. July 4th, my biggest stage.
It's tough to serve a lot of people at once. That's another thing that's a new experience for podcasters, is to be in a room with like 3, 4, 10, 15, 20 people. It's totally, like you said, it's totally different to lead a room in real life, in live format with 15 plus people, which is probably done for years. It's something I had done for years, it's something Bria's done for years, but to a podcaster, somebody that truly entered this realm of teaching and coaching during COVID, they are just venturing out. It's so fascinating to me to see all the differences in the way the industries that we work in have changed, and which is kind of the theme of the day. But I do think like the coaching and consulting and help and support, these industries have grown so significantly since the beginning of COVID. There was like a before COVID where we cared about ourselves, and there was an after COVID when we cared about ourselves. I feel like life coach wasn't a thing. Do you see, like, what do you see in the market when you're out there? Because you're obviously like an experienced professional, and I mean, like you've seen things, right? Like you've been a part of things, and it's
Sure, yeah,
not your first professional rodeo. And
right.
for some people, because the vertical of media is such an interesting, fluxy one, you can really get yourself in a pretty prominent position in a hurry right now. But I wonder, as somebody who's seen the ebbs and flows over time to some extent and has some real grounding in it, like what trends are you seeing? What are you excited about? What are you scared for in the media industry?
Okay.
Because there's a lot of everything right now. It
Yeah.
feels like it's overwhelming.
Thank you for those multiple questions. There's one that I'm really excited about answering.
Go for it.
What am I scared of in what's happening in the trends is that we collectively, because there's not them and us, right? We collectively are so freaking attached to what happens, right? We're attached to how many likes we get. We're attached to how many comments. We're attached to how many friends we have. We're attached to what our numbers look like and the numbers in our bank account. And for me, I just got chills. Um, I get really scared about that because some of us, our ego gets so wrapped up in it. And, then we get depressed over it and we do the whole compare and despair. And that's dangerous and it's super toxic. So, what I invite in for listeners and for viewers is how grounded can we stay, even with all of these different options, all the different communities, digital and live. How can we stay grounded and just show up and serve? Can we just do that?
That was poetry. I'm of the science of servant leadership. That's where I was taught. I didn't understand the science of leadership until I understood servant leadership. So I really have a big heart for that, like the simplicity. I like the simplicity of servant leadership, to be honest with you. Like, I think transformation, like some of the other forms of technical leadership are interesting and effective, but I think servant leadership is just, it's like, it feels like the one for me. It just feels easier to do the right thing a lot of times, even when it hurts. But I feel like it took a lot of pain through COVID of us learning that as a society to start to recognize that and be able to have these platforms for people to say how they feel. And like when voting rights are taken away in a county in the South, we all know about it now. Like, we're all coming for you. Like, it's not like it was even a few years ago. Like, we're just so connected. I feel like it's so powerful to have the platforms that we do now, because someone like you is going to be so influential to young creators and to young entertainers, which is what influencers are. They're entertainers. And what you spoke to about mental health is going to be so differently relevant to this group of humans. Like, nobody wants to work full time. So I foresee a lot of people doing more creating. And I think you understanding the hardships that come along with public life, and anyone who does understand the hardships that can come along with public life, I feel like that's such a great opportunity for the rest of us to stay safer. So I really, really appreciate you being a part of our world, because you have some of that like kind of traditional knowledge, and safety is something I started worrying about a little bit more lately. Do you have any takes or any advice? That's kind of my last big question, but I would love to know if you have advice for us as we have potentially more people watching us, or we have more questions about that. Even a podcaster, like before one starts a podcast, the only people who know what you think, say, and do are the people who you choose to, for the most part, even on social media. But RSS feeds, there's no connection to a name, really an ID of any type. So you have truly put yourself blindly into the world. And I think we may undervalue the safety feature. What can we do to be better about that as like young, dumb entertainers that don't know what we're doing?
You're already doing it. So the number one thing that I recommend to those of us who want to put ourselves out there and develop a podcast or a TV show or be entertainers is collaborate. To be in community, to tap somebody on the shoulder and say, hey, will you join me on this journey? There are so many of us as creatives that think I have to do this by myself, right? But when we look at team is an acronym. Together, everyone achieves miracles, right? Who in your world, or who could be in your world, that you want to have a collaborator with? Like you and Bree are already doing it. This would be infinitely so much more difficult if you were by yourselves, right, Bree?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's true.
So,
Collaboration is everything. I think that's, that was the first step for me after deciding to be in podcasting and deciding to put my voice out there, as scary as that was. It was not feeling alone with my microphone. I don't find solace in that. I find solace with others, networking and collaborating and having those interactions. in so many different places and so many. I crave that. It's what my soul needs. It's what my heart yearns for. And so by becoming part of a community, by pushing my network to be bigger and grow more and having these human interactions with others that I wouldn't normally, like I wouldn't run into you down at the coffee shop. You have this beautiful life doing these incredible things, 1,000 miles from me right now, but I get to connect with you and I get to learn about you and grab recipes and swap stories and grow and that is what this has given me. So it's soothing and nurturing for my heart and soul to be a part of a community and be a part of a network. And it's the future. I think it's what we want to do. I think we got really used to that during COVID where we couldn't go hang out with the people around us like that were just here. And so this kind of connection just we got used to it, became easy for us. And now that we've got it, we're like, I want more now. I want more. I want to talk to lots of people. I want that connection with as many as possible. That's the joy for me. And I love that you're doing your play shop on Zoom. Thank you for that, by the way, because I am signing up for that immediately because I want to connect more with you. I did put the link. So we have a QR code up on the screen. If you want to check it out, you can just scan the QR code and you can sign up for it. It's this Saturday. I want to get that in there before we run out of time. We still got about 10 minutes left, but
Okay.
I get chatty, so I forget that I want to make sure I point that out that it's there.
Hey, do you want to talk about the reason that we're here?
Yeah.
Okay. So our dear friend who is in the chat, she mentioned, she tagged you at a post about the book that's coming out in August.
Yes.
And that is like a huge topic that I know Trevor's going to be excited about. So about 9 years ago, I created a New Year's resolution. I'm that weird guy. I love making New Year's resolutions. I love keeping New Year's resolutions. And for a number of reasons of what was going on in my life at the time, I decided that I was going to live 1 year in trust. I was going to trust with a capital T. I was going to trust the politicians. I was going to trust my neighbors. I was going to trust my bank account. I was going to trust every element of my life. Just as an experiment, just to see what that would be like. And I never stopped. So I am still living in trust each and every day. It's my MO. That's what I go to. And what I recognize about the human condition, understandably so, is that we're pretty freaking habituated in distrusting, right? We're really good at distrusting the news and, the president, he who shall not be named, all of that. We're really good at distrusting that. And we have lots of evidence, right? And I just look at what's more sustainable, and moving as we do into the future as a human race. Will it help us to be more trusting or less trusting? So I wrote a book. It's called Trust with a capital T. Deborah Poneman from Yes to Success, who I love and admire muchly. She has generously offered to write the foreword. It's due on July 1st, by the way, Deborah, please. So it's coming out and it's a workbook. And we get to journal about those times when we did trust and it didn't work out so well, or those times when we didn't trust and it didn't work out so well. And the last part of the story that I'll tell is I was in a breathwork workshop during COVID. I was laying on the floor right here behind me. And the teacher said, at some point during this workshop, you may get an answer. You may have a solution. You may come to realize something. About 20 minutes into it, I heard from God or source or from somewhere, in the center of trust is you. TRUST. And what I came to understand is that when we can begin to trust ourselves, then it affects everything in the world, right? The law of attraction. If I can trust myself, then I can trust you, Bree, and then I can trust you, Trevor, and then I can trust the neighbor, and then I can trust whoever. Even when things don't look the way that I think they should, I get to trust that too. So that's all I got.
That's so powerful. And it rings really true to me. I always look at things as with as much positivity as I can, and it's gotten hard sometimes, right? I've had times when it gets really, really difficult, and using what you just said, that trust, that's going to be huge for me. I have to
Mm.
get the workbook. Can we pre-order it? Or I see that I know that there's 4 books listed on Amazon right now of yours, but will this one be on a pre-sale at all? We'll be able to get a hold of it anytime soon.
August
Is this
6th.
August 6th? Okay.
Yeah, on
Perfect.
my birthday, same day as Lucille Ball and Andy Warhol.
Wow.
And the bombing of
Great company.
Hiroshima, but we do not talk about the bombing of
We don't want
Hiroshima.
to
We
talk about
just
that
talk
one.
about Lucille Ball. Yes,
Un
Trevor, I know you're aching to say something.
Go
I
ahead,
can see
Trevor.
your lips moving.
I was just laughing. I was just listening along. Yeah. No, I have some different experiences through some of that, but I definitely feel like where something just surrounds you. That's creativity for me. I got really, really lucky to fall into it. I
Mm,
think, like at a really important time in my life. So everything creative has become my world, and this thing that we do has given me such a chance to play with that all the time. So, in the same, I feel like in the same way that some people have religion, I have gotten very close to that with creativity. I just think about it constantly and
mm,
how to manipulate it because we have such big problems in the world, and I think that that's going to be probably the best chance we have at solving them because every other asshole in the world is going to be using Chat GPT because humans are lazy as shit.
mm,
So I feel like I want to start to create a world where at least part of our lives we can think really, really solo and on our own, really detached from things, and be together like this. Like this space is so unique to do because it is live, so you really have no freaking clue what you're getting into, and so the tension that that can create in a space can create so much creative output. It's like super fascinating to me. So that is why I do what I do. But I also know that the coaching piece is super powerful, and the books play such a cool role in it.
mm.
It's got to be super hard to get published. Like back in like that's the interesting part. You've done it before, and in a time where anybody can get published, I think like truly it's a great time to be a creator because you can get anything published anywhere in 45 formats in 20 languages for like $150. Like you could have a virtual assistant for $5 a week. It's a fascinating time in the world. But then there's old school creators who have like such a depth with it, and you cross over. Like that's who I learned with, and I just have such deep respect for what you bring to the multimedia part of it. To be able to come on and speak to us so eloquently, and to have such deep, thought-provoking conversations while also having humor tied into everything you do, and having this open relationship with your husband, and feel like it's okay in a time where like there's shit railing against that. Like it's so stupid that that's even a conversation, but like it never gets beyond it without people who are willing to be open, and I appreciate you for that. And I just like don't want to let that go this month because it seems like as this month wraps up that it's super super duper important that we do not leave Pride Month behind because we have some friends in places that is getting pretty scary. Like I have friends in Florida and Nashville, and I think it's really really amazing what you do. So I just want to give you all the props in the world and let you give gratitude to all the missions and visions that you serve because it's obviously a lot. You might even say like a rainbow of them. So I want
Mm.
to give you like anytime we have left, we got 5 minutes left. And I know that a lot of people have made your world possible and you serve a lot of individuals. So please take this time to tell us the websites. We can get them later. But I want to show all the love to the platforms you stand on because I think we really, really appreciate your time here today, and we want to show that to everybody who supports you.
Thank you. That was huge. Thank you. I soak all of that in and drink all of it down. Thanks, Trevor. Um, Websites, josephbennett.org, sublimeguys.com. That's where the recipes are. And San Miguel Retreats, SANMIGUEL, sanmiguelretreats.com. And what I wish for the listeners and for the viewers is one thing. I really, really hope that they can find a space and grace to stop beating ourselves up. Because I believe at the end of the day, when our head hits the pillow, we can either be in gratitude and, metaphorically or physically pat ourselves on the back that we were in service, we were in leadership, we were helping to change the conversations about racism and gays and lesbians and transgender and all of that, or we're going to beat ourselves up. And I don't think beating ourselves up does a fuck of a lot to be part of the solution. So let's give ourselves some grace, stop beating ourselves up. And in that, we're able to raise our vibration. If I can be that, woo-woo, I am from California originally. We can raise our vibration, and then the next day, it'll be that much easier to show up and be part of the solution. So please stop beating yourself up. Acknowledge yourself for who you are. You're amazing, amazing. And the last thing I want to share a fact. And a fact is that of all the people that have ever lived on this planet, 93% of them have already died. You and I and the person sitting next to you are part of the 7% that are still here. That's huge. If you're here, obviously you're a miracle, right? So just soak all that in, right? Right. I am a miracle in your glass of water and drink it down each day. So that's my story. That's all I got.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you so very much. One thing I have to say before we close and wrap up that we didn't get to talk about, but I know Amy's going to be very interested, and I was immediately drawn to it because it serves that artsy creative side of me. Art by Bennett is you do sustainable art, so you reclaim things and do these amazing pieces with it. It's Art by Bennett. I put the link in the chat. We have to have you back on. There's so many more things to talk about. We'll let you get the July 4th thing crossed off your list, but we'll see you on Saturday. Thank you so very much for being here and sharing so much of your world with us. And I can't wait to learn more and do more. Sign up. Links are in the chat. I'll put more links back up. The link for the Storytelling Play Shop is on the screen. So download that. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Amy Scoob. There's a whole bunch of other people that didn't say hi, but we love that you're here. So thank you for being here. Trevor, I'll let you close us up. Just grateful for today. Grateful for having more people in our world that we connect with that are part of the Numo Spec family now. And we love it. Thank you. Go ahead, Trevor. Take us home.
Inspired by Kid President, who was some of my original inspiration for anything good I did after I left my mom's house. Was Kid President back in the day, who said it is everybody's job to give the world a reason to dance. And that was like the staple that this little kid named Kid President stood on. And I watched that video every day and every week and every moment with some of the hardest cases I've ever worked with, and it moved them. So please watch Kid President Pep Talk. It's super duper old now, and he's grown up, and I don't know where he is. His name is
Let's
Robbie
have him on the show. Have him on the show.
I would give anything to talk to Robbie Novak and his brother, who's still a little active. It's a super cool story. But Kid President Pep Talk is a video that can't wrong in your day to make it better. His goal to give the world a reason to dance, and that is something I'm wildly uncomfortable with. So we are doing it here to close it out on what is an amazing Wednesday. It's my favorite day of the week for all these reasons. Bree, thank you for everything you do. We are nothing without you. We are nothing without Amy. We are nothing without Scoob. We are nothing without my wife, who takes care of me all the time and constantly, and my moms who do everything for me, and my dads who teach me stuff. So thank you to everybody in my world, because this is an amazing platform to stand on, and I'm super effing grateful for it. We will see you tomorrow on Theoretical Thursday. It is the day we show up without a plan and we talk about the future. Tomorrow is Thursday. It is Theoretical Thursday until we have a better theme. I used to have a TH speech impediment, so there you go. I'm just getting really wild today. But Theoretical Thursdays is all about telling stories as if they have happened. So bring your visions, bring your big dreams, but bring the ones that you're willing to talk about. Because if you can talk about it publicly or in the comments, I promise you it's a little bit closer to reality. That is what we talked about today. That is what visioning does. That is brain science. That's not pseudoscience. That is brain science. So tomorrow, bring your stories about the future. Bring the stories for the world you want to be in, because that's where we're trying to go, right?
Absolutamente.
Be good to yourself. Be good to others. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit the button, Trevor.
I gotta find it. She said.